Welcome to United We Spay, the show dedicated to promoting affordable spay-neuter services nationwide. Each episode delves into the heart of the movement, sharing inspiring stories and driving positive change. Our goal is to raise awareness, educate, and empower, addressing overpopulation's root causes to ensure every animal has a chance for a better life. Hosted by Stacy LeBaron and the United Spay Alliance team, we're on a mission to change lives. Fed up with the fixation on symptoms in the animal welfare conversation, it's time to change the narrative. Join us on United We Spay, where we make a difference by spreading knowledge and building a compassionate world for animals. Let's put prevention first and spotlight spay-neuter in the animal welfare space.
You're listening to United We Spay, a podcast from the United Spay Alliance. The United Spay Alliance works to promote accessible, affordable, and timely spay-neuter services because an ounce of prevention today can prevent untold suffering tomorrow. Spay-neuter, it's public health for pets. I'm Stacy LeBaron, United Spay Alliance board member and host of the show. And today on United We Spay, we are talking with two guests. We have Craig Neilson and we have Dr. Joaquin Navaro with us. And we are going to talk about working with Spay Mexico, Spay Global to focus on the solution of pet overpopulation, spay-neuter. For many years, Craig has tried to work with and support veterinarians that are trying to make a difference. And there's a recent project that converted into certified training program for surgeons, and it's been a dream come true. And we are going to be discussing the evolution and history of spay-neuter and the spay-neuter process with Dr. Joaquin today. Craig, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And Joaquin, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, Joaquin, if you can share with us today a bit about your background as well as why you've become so passionate about spaying and neutering pets.
Well, the reason was the suffering, especially when I started living in Rosarito. I started seeing all these animals. And then because I'm more like a zootecnista, I don't know what zootecnista than a clinical doctor, I could see a little bit further the consequences of all these problems of the dogs on the streets. And then it was not a matter of just the animals. It's about public health. We were losing a lot of people, kids, and especially kids in the fields where the kids used to sleep on the floors because most of the workers that come to work on the fields on the north, coming from the south, from Oaxaca, from Michoacan, from different places, with a different custom. So they were very vulnerable to the diseases they can get through the animals. So seeing all that suffering and all this wasting of money from the government on programs that were useless, only were about killing and killing and killing dogs like was the solution. And they never went to the roots. So for me, it was easy to detect that because I always worked in production with cows before I got into the dogs. So it was easy to see, hey, we got to stop production. It's very simple. Stopping production and then you solve the problem, and not only start killing and killing and killing, and you don't get nowhere.
So how did you come up with the thought that spaying and neutering dogs was really going to make a difference? Did you see information from somewhere else, or did you just say, this killing is not working, we have to do something else, and that was the only other option that came to you?
Well, I living for a little bit in the United States and see that you guys didn't have the problem on the streets, and seeing programs. I was very sensitized by a lady that opened a sanctuary there, Sandy Benedict. I started a volunteer over there, and the solution wasn't to accumulate dogs. We had to do something else. At that time, I didn't have no practice in spay and neuter, nothing to do with dogs at all. But anyway, they I was the only choice that they had. So they let me work a little bit there. And then I met Glenn Larson, and we started the GSL Foundation, Gibson Life. And he sponsored the programs of massive. We started the first time with 8 animals. Was our first massive campaign in Tijuana. I'm talking about 1999 or 1998. Is how we started with the help of Dr. Hackett of San Diego, Dr. Nicholas, and then started groups getting involved. We came with the support. They bringing the animals to us. We spayed as much as we can. Then Craig came to the table, and with a lot of support, thanks God, we were able to expand to different cities, start discovering a bunch of jewels. I'm talking jewels, new doctors, even students that were incredible, efficient and faster, that they were able to maximize our time, our effort, our money, our medicines, everything, One of the samples that we have is Dr. Ariel, Dr. Cesar Tejeda, young kids. At that time they were young. Now they are old, as old as myself.
Don't let them listen to this.
I was going to say an old. You guys gotta say it over there. But thanks to them that they are keeping going and teaching and sharing. We had the opportunity I had the opportunity to meet a great person, a great American, Bill Clark, that he was basically my manager, the one who gave me the advices, keep it simple, keep it fun, pass the gift. That was Dr. Hackett's phrase, but Bill always told me about the ripple effect. Incredible human being that helped us in doing the advice, and then start learning that we had to take care of ourselves as a humans, because start personalities and stuff like that, dividing. And one of the beautiful things about open a group is that somebody get mad, open another group, and that's fine. Go for it. Do as many you can, more than me or whatever, that's a beautiful part on the spay and neuter programs, When the people get upset, they open another group. So that's beautiful on the human nature. That is a part of the story that we have before Craig start uplifting this platform of getting us everywhere to teach here and there. I never did conference, and I had to do it because nobody else will do it. And at that time, I don't know how they didn't believe me, because I didn't know how to prove that it was the real solution, spay and neuter, and a solution. And I mean that we're gonna disappear the problem. It's a control. The solution is to get a control, at least, because we're gonna have to have put animals to kill animals, because always is gonna be irresponsible people here and there that and it's no homes for the dogs,
Yep.
But at least less people are dying also.
So, Craig, I'd like to bring you in on the conversation. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you met up with Joaquin.
Oh, he's so modest. I was involved in moving pet food, from Neutro and El Monte and Purina, and I got 2 or 3 truckloads down into Tijuana to help the animal shelters, which had never happened before. So they were feeding the shelters for change. But before that, I took a carload of pet food over to Otay Mesa, where Dr. Hackett and Joaquin were doing surgery. Dorothy York, some American veterinarians were down there. They'd go down there once a month, I think, something like that. And they would just load the place up with animals to fix. Prior to that, I think I mentioned before on a previous podcast, I'd gone down there to take some of his pet food to a ranch that was starving animals. And I met Dr. Joaquin up at this Otay Mesa veterinary clinic, and I brought some pet food, and I told him about the clinic, and he said, wow, we should come down there and do some surgery at that old ranch. There was 165 starving animals. And I said, okay. And he said, Thursday. I said, okay. So anyway, they showed up, him, Rebecca and Armando, I think, or Alejandro, I can't remember. But anyway, they showed up and they fixed all the males. But we stopped the breeding right there, right at that ranch. And once he did that and I saw the surgery room, I realized I'm so stupid. I was focused on the problem and not the solution, and he was focused on the solution. So it's like that thing of people have a better idea than you do, So that's how I met him. I went up to his home, and he had a place in Rosarito and also Punta Bandera, I believe, and then also up in Alpine here in California. And I sat around the table and with him and a couple of other vets, and he looked at me in the eyes and he said, "Craig," he said, "the people will always mess this up. The animals are really pure." And I said, "Okay, I'll do the best I can being a people, But that was the original meeting. And just to move forward quickly, because he's covered a lot of turf already. What happened is when I told people about that ranch in Tecate, one of my friends, Katie Kritz, who had worked with the Baja Animal Sanctuary and Sonny Benedict down there, was taking food down to them, and she and I would do the pet food. But she sent me $5,000, and she said, "Fix the ranch." And so I had to go find somebody to fix it. And that's when I connected with Joaquin and some vets. And that Three Musketeer group, Joaquin, Rebecca, and myself, we were very powerful forces for change. We all had different talents we brought to the table, but there was a level of friendship that was just astonishing. From that group, this whole thing began to flourish, and of course, Esther Meckler with Spay USA initially, and then Marion's Dream showed up with some money and said, "Craig, fix it." And that's what happens when you tell the story, right, Stacey? Yep. Somebody comes along and says, "Well, fix it, go fix it." I said, "Okay." But there's so much history, rich history from this initial trigger group, and people lined up almost everywhere we went. And just to mention a few things that Joaquin brought up earlier, Bill Clark was an executive that had a little issue with alcohol and everything. But he went down to Mexico, and he was such a powerful person. And he talked about all the time the ripple effect and the giant footstep that we're leaving on this problem, which was incredibly beautiful. And John Hackett up at the Otay Mesa, they would come down once a month, and their whole thing was keep it simple, have some fun, and pass the gift. And that's what we got involved in with Give Some Life Foundation. Was Joaquin and Glenn's original organization that came together. And I think 98 is that right, Joaquin? Was it 98?
Yeah, around 98.
98, yeah, it came together, and that became the lead for this thing. And then I think in 2007 or 8 or something like that, we turned it into Spay Mexico because we thought we should do the whole country. And then we turned it into Spay Global because we think we should do the whole world. So, but that's just the brief thing. And maybe I'll shut my mouth and you can tell me what I should answer next.
For sure. So I want to reach out to Joaquin, and then we'll bounce back to you, Craig. Let's talk about training. So you've talked about growing this program to Spay Mexico, Spay Global. It appears like in the last 7-8 years, there's been a shift and an interest in really increasing the amount of training. Joaquin, are you involved in developing this training program at all?
Well, actually, I don't know if I started, but we used to just more than training, sharing wherever we have on. During when we had a clinical campaign, that what we call them was about sharing. One day I was invited to Querétaro with a group of organization over there. I don't remember their name of the group, but was Sandra Balsama, incredible human being, and I took my airplane, and she lined me 39 doctors in different days, and in a very simple way. I don't believe in sterile fields, or because as I said, I work on the field, on the ranches, and the animal has immune systems to defend themselves. So was one shot of penicillin, small incision, a good technique. And I remember the doctors used to bring me a bunch of tools. I said, get them out of here. Let's gonna do this way, And of course, we had to go work in a clean environment because it's impossible to afford all this equipment to keep it sterile, I agree with the universities that they have to teach that way, but the real life is a real life. We cannot change that. I would love to send you some pictures and the results that I had on my own practice. I'm very slow lately, or I'm not as capable as used to do. I mean, doing 30 animals a day for me was incredible. But now the young kids that we train, or they learn on themselves, as Dr. Cesar Tejeda, I will love. Well, he doesn't speak English, but he's a jewel for this movement. I saw him doing 180 animals a day.
That's one vet, Stacy.
That's amazing.
It's on one vet. And Dr. Ariel, is also teaching and training everywhere. So, and Greg got the opportunity to take me to Dominican Republic to learn a little bit from, at that time, the name of the organization was the World Animal, from England, World Animal, I don't remember, World Animal Organization or whatever. They changed their name now. And I had the opportunity to hear certain persons, not vets, to organize myself better and get what I call the circle of success, sterilization on the middle, and all the results that you get. Because when you start spaying and neuter, even though you go to community, it's always a rejection, and then spay and neuter, when they see the benefits, the people pass the word, and then the next time it's more people, and then rescue, they don't have to rescue as many animals because we have the spade as the center of the wheel. You can preservation on nature, because cats are incredible predators for wildlife. So putting a spade and neuter on the middle, you get incredible result, public health, less laws that I see, with all my respect to all the people that are working in laws. Yeah, fine, but who going to enforce them, So spade and neuter as a center of the circle is the solution for the control, because this problem will never going to end.
Yeah, one thing you're mentioning there that is really critical is that public health for pets, and what you're talking about. And Dr. Bob Whedon, in one of our presentations at a past United Spay Alliance conference, spoke about the fact that if you get the cats spayed or neutered, vaccinated for rabies vaccine, that's a barrier between the population and the wildlife. And they act as a protective resource within the community. So, it's definitely very important that that's part of the package, at least here in the United States. We find that where, especially in areas where we do have a lot of rabies in our wildlife, it provides that barrier. So it's one of many different diseases that can play a role where spay neuter is very helpful. Craig, I'm going to turn it over to you right now, so that before we have to close out, I want to ask you, tell me a little bit more about this certified training program that has been developed.
Well, everything has roots of change. And Joaquin was the Johnny Appleseed for spay neuter throughout Mexico. And Costa Rica, we went down and worked with Christine Crawford, and Spay Panama, we worked with Patricia Chan at Spay Panama. Dr. Jeff Young, we worked in Merida and in his training centers. But it turned into, and we brought Dr. Olson in from Spay Peru and trained in Panama, and he went and trained people down. And now I think Bolivia's got their new project in motion, and I don't know about Argentina yet. Joaquin's the Brazil, right? Okay. So Joaquin really is the connector of people And one of the key things that happened was we went on the way back from training in Santiago, Chile in 2018. We stopped in to see Dr. Olson, and one of the vets on our team was Dr. Blyra Maldonado, and she and Ariel were there with us in Cusco. She said, Craig, I'm going to write a program. And I said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to get a certified program in motion. And I've already got 3 other. You have to be a veterinarian inside the university for 6 years prior to even qualifying to do these programs, these certified programs. And I said, great, what does it take? And she said, time and money. And I said, let's get it done. So what happened was Blyra began to put this program together. And there's an organization in Mexico that certifies these programs to be taught as an extension inside the university system, that veterinarians can now go and take this course. I think this summer, at the end of May, or they started a program. They had over 200 veterinarians signed up to take the online course. And I think roughly mid-90s, I think something like 92 of them, or 95, something like that, graduated the course. The course has 2 components to it. The first part is the written. You know, you go online, you take this course, and you pass the written exam. Then you get to sign up at a clinic for training. So that's when they can go back in and be certified with a certificate. Different people have handled this in different ways over the years. Patricia Chan, they just give people a certification when they come in and do the training in Panama. But we started with that in 18, and we did this big training. I think we did about 20, something like that in vets in Mexicali. And then we did one right in the very beginning of pandemic in 21. Dr. Jeff's, was it 20 or 21? I can't remember. I think it was 20 maybe. But Dr. Jeff has this international training center in, just south of Cancun in Merida. And we filled that up with veterinarians and volunteers and did our second training there. And then we did another one in Mexicali. And now it's just converted to the online thing. And then you schedule a clinic to get your certification. So that's basically where it's at. It's in the process of being translated to English and whatever language. They had a translator program on the program, on the online course, so that you could convert it to another language. But we had I don't know how to say this without saying, wow, we just had this, not only did we have a pandemic, that the president of our organization passed away at the beginning of this year. So I lost my bodyguard and my translator. So Rosie Ariola was the person that connected me, with everybody. So she was the connector human. And we just put 5 new board members on our organization, then had a meeting with Esther earlier this year. So we're in the transition of getting things translated and funded properly. And that's the best I can say. Is there more questions that I left unanswered there?
No, that's fantastic. If folks are interested in finding out more about your organization, Craig, how would they do that?
www.spaymexico.org is the best place. And my phone number should be right on there. If somebody wants to send me, you have to send me a text because I get so much junk, so send me a text and I'll respond to you. Absolutely. And that phone number is 760-522-7835.
Excellent. Joaquin, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners today? What would you like folks to remember from the show?
I would like to give a message. I don't underestimate any programs that whatever anybody can do, but we can have a lot to share just on the field. The doctors that are already practicing, they have a lot to learn. I invite everybody, the doctor that I already know, to share when they are doing surgeries, because most of our doctors, they just came to our clinics. Craig is a witness how they learn also. And in order to do the job, just do it. That's simple. Don't wait for anything. The problem is there. And if you have $1,000 spent in one day, it's possible. Don't distribute it as your budget for 12 months, because dogs are going to be having babies. So we better spay everybody or as much as we our abilities as fast as we can, get it, give it, or get out, as used to Bill Clark say. When you get the phone, give it away to spend it or get out, but don't save the money to try to survive the year on a budget, Whenever you have the help, use it and spend it immediately, because the dogs don't stop having babies. Are you agree, Craig?
I totally agree, buddy. You should have seen, Stacy, Joaquin, we came up with the surgery table was a Walmart wide body ironing board for $44. And I love the picture of Joaquin heading down the Baja, ranch by ranch by ranch, by garbage dump, by garbage dump, by garbage dump, with almost nothing but his surgery tools and a little anesthesia, and doing surgery all the way down the Baja. It just, with money, yes, we could have a nice surgery room. It'd be $300 to $500, or it could be under $5 in Mexico. We work in an environment where there aren't enough resources to duplicate an American system. And so we do the best we can. We teach in the university, we teach, like you said, but fix it, damn it.
You have to be creative for the environment that you're in order to be impactful. That is the way that we have to look at all of our areas, regardless of whether you are in different places around the world or if you're in the United States. You have to just take what's around in your local area, utilize those resources and make the most of it. And I also think sharing is incredibly important. And I think we can grow this community and support the community so that we can feel we need to improve our mental health. We need to realize there's more of us out there. There's so many challenges locally that if we can be global, global spay, globally sharing our love and passion around spay neuter, it's just going to help us be able to move to that next day.
Just one thing to enforce that, Stacy. What's been the coolest thing about this entire project is the level of passion that you run into with people all over. In Costa Rica, El Salvador, Diana's down there, got the police department helping her round the dogs up to get them fixed, and trap the cats. And Adele over in Athens, Greece, we just sent her a bunch of cat traps. She says, oh my God, we've never had this before, and now all of a sudden, instead of throwing a box over a kitty, she's got some tools. So the tools, and when we went to Panama, just one quick thing about that, Joaquin called me and says, Craig, we don't have anything to teach. We're going to sit at round tables and we're just going to share. And that was the coolest thing about Patricia Chan and her team. They're just so evolved. They'll train anybody. They're available. When you find people, Stacy, that have the passion, we'll always find an excuse not to do it. But there's really no excuse, like Joaquin says. Let's just go do it and then keep that good attitude, and we'll find a way.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank our listeners for tuning in today. If you like this episode, please be sure to share and subscribe. We'll be releasing a new episode each month, digging into important conversations surrounding spay neuter throughout the U.S. and around the world. Find more resources for spay neuter and learn more about our work at unitedspayalliance.org. That's United, S-P-A-Y, alliance.org. Get in touch with us at any time by emailing info@unitedspayalliance.org. Until next time, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.